Hi guys. So today we're going to talk about the much dreaded mini mental state exam. So I've created a very simple cheat code to get past this, and it's easy. All you need to do is remember a certain set of numbers. Yes, and those numbers are 5, 3, 2, 1. Great. So if you remember these numbers, you would remember all of the components of the exam, because the entire exam is scored over 30. So let's get into it. So the very first 5 is, it relates to 5 time related questions. So what is the time of the year? So what is the year? What is the season? For instance, is it autumn, summer? What month is it? What is the date? Yeah. And finally, what day of the week? So each of these is scored 1, or everything is scored over 5. So if the patient scores everything, they get 5 over 5. If they score nothing, they get 0 over 5 or 2 over 5, as the case may be. So the next 5 is related to place. So the first is, where are we now? So you want to start with country, then you want to go into county or state. So for instance, I'm in the United Kingdom, the county is London. Then you want to go precisely, probably into town. So I'm in East London, for instance. And then you want to ask for hospital. Let's say this was in a hospital. This would be the Royal London Hospital, for instance. And what floor? We are in the surgery floor. So each of these is scored again, just similarly. So patient could get 5 over 5, 0 over 5, 2 over 5. Okay, looks easy, doesn't it? So let's move on. So I'm going to tear this off and go on to the next 5, which is the last of the series of the 5. Good. So the next 5 is a 5-letter word spelled backwards, and that's one of what's commonly used is world. So you ask the patient to spell it backwards, and you should get DLROW. If they do this correctly, they get 5 over 5, wrongly 0 over 5, 2 over 5, as the case may be. Alternatively, you can ask the patient to subtract 7. So 100 minus 7, and that's repeated 5 times. Now we're done with 5. So let's move to 3. Good. So the first 3 is you tell the patient is told 3 objects. So those 3 objects could be anything you like, but oftentimes you can say apple, table, and for instance pen. That's it. So the patient is told these 3 objects, and you ask the patient to say, you ask the patient to repeat these 3 objects. So they are to repeat apple, table, and pen. So if they get everything, they get 3 over 3, 0 over 3, or 1 over 3. All right, so the next 3 is similar to the first you've asked. So you come here and say, do you remember what I told you initially? So you expect them to list back apple, table, and pen. So it's apple, table, and pen. So if they do that accurately, they get 3/3, 0/3, 1/3. Yes, so I'm going to tear this again and move on to the next set of 3. Yeah, so the next set of 3 is where you give the patient a 3-stage command. And it could be like, take this paper, fold, and drop. If they do every of this step, they get 3/3, again 0/3, or 1/3, or 2/3, as the case may be. This concludes the 5 and 3. We move to 2. So 2 here, you just want them to do the name 2 object challenge. So you'd say, name 2 objects, name 2 object challenge. So that could be, for instance, you could ask them to name a pen, and you could ask them to name a watch. So if they do this correctly,